Happy hello everyone! Just because something makes you happy doesn't mean it has to make sense. So far in this web series, we've taken a look at a lot of the obvious sources of happiness. Now it's time for a look at the obscure. Here are 18 random facts about happiness.
My name is Ryan Wingfield, and my job is to make people happy. After years of doing stand-up comedy, I've devoted an entire year to the study of happiness. Join me each week right here on a Road Comics Road to Happiness.
Sunday is the happiest day of the week. That, according to mathematicians who developed an algorithm to analyze online blogs and messages. Of course, what do they know? These are people who are happy doing math for a living. Speaking of which, a mathematical formula was used to determine the happiest day of the year, factoring in things such as weather, nature, and social interactions. The happiest day of the year was determined to be the third Friday in June, also known as the start of the weekend closest to the summer solstice. Similar pseudoscience was used to determine the most depressing day of the year, which is the third Monday in January. It is sometimes called Blue Monday. Drawing unhealthy food can make you happy. Apparently, you don't need to eat food for it to give you a happiness boost. A 2013 study found that people were able to improve their mood by drawing pictures of food that was either fatty or sweet. The boost came regardless of how much the person weighed and how hungry they were, although it doesn't say if their skills as an artist made a difference. Vaccines work better when you're happy. People who rank among the happiest on psychological tests will develop 50% more antibodies when they get a flu shot than an average person. Of course, maybe they're just happy because they're less likely to get the flu. Third place will make you happier than second. A study of Olympic athletes found that bronze medalists are happier than people who win silver and sometimes happier than those who win gold. The difference seems to be that silver medalists feel as if they lost the gold, whereas bronze medalists are just happy to be on the podium. Conservatives are happier than liberals. A 2006 study found that 45% of conservative Republicans in the United States consider themselves very happy, compared to only 30% of liberal Democrats. However, when it comes to countries, those who live in a country with a liberal government are happier than those who live in a country with a conservative government. I'll have more on the reasons why in a special episode, Election Week. Income makes you happier when you are paid by the hour. Imagine you have to work extra hours at the office. Now imagine that you have to work those extra hours, but you aren't going to be paid anymore.
What?
Pisses you off, huh? That is why hourly employees are much more happy with their income than salaried employees. They feel that they've earned every cent. However, if you really want to improve your happiness, you should try to be your own boss. According to one study, you would have to earn 2.5 times as much money working for someone else to bring you the same happiness as being your own boss. Your best bet for a happy home is a rich neighborhood in a poor country. That being based on several studies which found that living in poor neighborhoods reduces your happiness, but that people can be happier if they feel they are making more money than those around them. Put them together and you get a rich neighborhood in a third world country. Personally, I'm fine staying in America. Don't be happier than your spouse. Studies show most couples are at equal levels of happiness when they start a relationship, but when one partner becomes happier than the other, trouble is a-brewing. A happiness gap in any given year increases the chance of a divorce the following year. That is extra true for women who are less happy than their husbands, hence the saying, happy wife, happy life. Speaking of wives, it pays to marry an attractive one. A study from the Journal of Family Psychology found that in marriages where the wife is more attractive than the husband has a happiness boost for both partners. Apparently, the reason is that attractive men are less satisfied with a homely wife, and women thankfully love men regardless of what we look like, because let's face it, they're better people. They really are. Only child kids are happier. Well, not always, but studies have shown that over half of kids with siblings are bullied by their brothers and sisters and hence have less happy childhoods. However, those with sisters, not brothers, are less likely to be depressed as teenagers. Happy people are lucky. Not exactly, because there is no such thing as luck, but rather science has shown that people who consider themselves lucky are just happier people who tend to see the positive side of bad fortune. For example, I'm not unlucky that I fell down the stairs and broke my leg. I'm lucky that I didn't break my neck. Happy people are less likely to make small talk. Yes, it's true that happy people are more likely to engage in conversations, but they're conversations of substance. One psychologist estimated that happy people are about 1/3 as likely to engage in small talk, but twice as likely to have a meaty conversation. Yes, we could talk about the weather, or you could tell me your opinion on global warming. Watching water makes you happy. One study found that living in sight of water, whether it be an ocean, lake, or river, can make you calmer, happier, and more creative. It's also helpful if you have to pee. And finally, comedians and other funny people are more likely to be depressed. This is something I talked about in my very first episode. Most comedians are at least a little bit depressed, and we are also more likely to be introverted and more likely to die young the more successful we are. Good thing for me, my career is going nowhere. That's all for this edition of A Road Comics Road to Happiness. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and leave any happy comments below. Next week, would you rather win the lottery or lose a leg? In the long run, it won't affect your happiness much either way. I'll explain why next week. Until then, stay happy.